All right, welcome everyone to day number 2 of the astrology vlog. I'm just going for a walk here this morning and talking about the energies for the day and maybe the surrounding days, because I probably won't do this every single day. So, I'll kind of talk about the surrounding days as well. But I'll do my best to come out here when there's something important, kind of like there is today, actually. Mars conjoining up to the Sun, going exact. Very important. Mars is a planet that's very independent. He does his own thing. So unlike Venus and Mercury, who are always conjoining the Sun, Mars doesn't do it that often, Mars transits the chart once every 2.5 years. And, depending on where the Sun is at that time, so around there is the transit. 2 to 3 years, I believe, is that conjunction. So anyways, I've been talking about this a little bit already. We had that last new moon on Sunday, which was conjunct Mars. And now the Sun's been moving towards Mars since Sunday, and is going to conjunct here on Wednesday. So this is that very direct energy I was talking about. I've been significantly noticing it more and more these past couple of days, increasing as we've been approaching today. It's going to go exact today in the evening time for those of you in the States or in the Americas, and then probably Thursday for those of you in Europe and the East. But it's strong nonetheless today. And so it's all about that directness. These are two fire energies. The Sun, our self-expression, our focus, our vital life force. How we view things, what we're focused on in the external reality of matters. And exerting our will into the world. The Sun is the fundamental of the masculine side of ourselves. Us living in the world, focus on the world, acting in the world, outwardly focused. So that side of ourself gets Mars, and Mars is the drive. Also masculine side. Masculine more in terms of the interpersonal side of life. So Venus is, in relationships, it's about attraction and values and enjoyments and pleasures. Mars is about desires, same thing, but doing it actively, right? The masculine side of the interpersonal relationships. So I've been noticing it. I've been noticing it in myself and others. I've been expressing myself in direct ways that I would do it. I would say something. I'd express myself and I'd be like, wow, I would never usually say that. Not that there's anything wrong with what I said or that, I regret it or anything like that afterwards. It's just that it's very bold, very direct, and it's good. Mars is the planet of not only that, masculine side, but all the planets have a polarity too. So Mars as a planet also has a feminine side, and that's the Scorpio energy. Mars traditionally rules Scorpio. So this is the deep truth. In this case, a self-expression that's just real and just cuts through the surface, right? Without messing around. So I've been noticing it in myself, and I've also been noticing it in others. Just generally, people I know in my life just expressing themselves much more directly, which is great. And then also just collectively, I've been noticing it everyday folks. But also, too, lots of lots of agitation, and I feel this within myself too. Like, I'm actually a bit grumpy today, to be honest with you. I'm a bit agitated. I had some allergies flare up a little bit this morning. I just kind of feel a little bit of that, you know, agitation when you've got this Mars and Sun, you know, these two powerful planets coming together in Cancer. All right, we were talking about that, how Cancer is about the internal world, and Mars is not comfortable here. So it can feel this way. It can feel maybe a bit agitated or blocked or frustrated, angry even, you know? And that's coming through the self-expression also. But it's also something we're feeling within. So maybe you're feeling that. Maybe you're feeling it in a totally different way. So feel free and help the community out by commenting down below so that we can all share our experiences and get a better idea about what this feels like in our personal lives, because this is, of course, just my view, and we all have very different ways of experiencing this. But yeah, I've definitely been noticing generally with everyone, there's this much more frankness and directness. And that goes into the Scorpio side of it too, which is the, you know, just calling it like it is, saying it like it is. It's just really deep. So, yeah, definitely going on today. Let me go ahead and catch some of this view. I got my camera angled a little bit lower here today. Let's see. That might be a little bit too much. Yeah, this is just a informal video, guys. Just taking you all for a walk out in the beautiful Panamanian countryside. See if we can catch some of this mountain. This is actually a volcano. Let's see if you can see that. Let me angle it. There we go. That's Volcan Baru. I think inactive, or maybe it is active. I should probably know that if I live next to a volcano. But yeah, volcano, that's Mars and the Sun, right? This volcanic energy. This lava, this fire, and lava's, you know, lava's like liquid, like water too. That's actually a really good analogy for this conjunction in Cancer. So I also wanted to mention how it's also squaring up to Uranus. And that is also creating perhaps a bit of the bottling up, you know, because Uranus, although it's not exact, Uranus is still squaring up to Mars while all this is going on. So there is this, maybe, you know, that's probably maybe where a lot of the, you know, blockage, the agitation, that type of thing is coming from. Because when we have squares to Uranus, we want to break through. You know, we want to break out. We don't want to be held down, tied down to anything. Whether it's ideas or situations or even our bodies, right? With Cancer, it's like this sort of, you know, way of working with our bodies and feelings and the more watery, receptive aspects of life in a way that is balanced and healthy without jumping the gun, flying off the handles. All right, so square to Uranus is technically still going on. So, you know, if you've got squares to Uranus in your chart, or Uranus is a very prominent planet for you, then you might be feeling that more. So anyways, really good day for channeling this, I think, into anything that does require courage, confidence, being direct. I'm going to go channel all this into my Patreon page, which I'm setting up for the channel productively with work. But you may, you know, we're all going to do it differently. It's all in a different house, by the way, so if you haven't checked your weekly, you should definitely check that out, see what house this conjunction is taking place in for you. But, yeah, channeling it into something constructive and productive. And if it is interpersonal, just remembering a bit of tact. I haven't, honestly, with this conjunction, I haven't personally, well, I guess I have experienced some situations where, you know, sometimes the self-expression be a little bit tasteless or just kind of rude or just not considerate. And I suppose, yeah, I've been sort of feeling like I could be doing that myself. I'm not exactly sure, obviously, how someone else might receive what I've been expressing, but yeah, remembering tact. You know, Venus always in the chart, everything that Mars rules, Venus rules in an opposite sign. So Mars rules Aries, opposite Aries is Libra, it's ruled by Venus. Mars rules Scorpio, opposite Scorpio is Taurus, ruled by Venus. So a good way of polarizing and balancing Mars is to bring in Venus energy. Cooperation, tactfulness, consideration, beauty, you know, just presenting ourselves and ideas in such a way that is, you know, considerate of how we're being received. And just with that sense of wanting to connect and wanting to sort of, you know, share and receive as well. Not just, you know, again, this is too masculine energy, so we could just want to give in the sense of just putting it out there, like the self-expression, or ourselves, or our personal needs, or whatever. But, you know, maybe to balance that out, bring in a bit of that Venus, that receptive side to it. And with the sun, the polar to sun always is the moon. And this is the Cancer, because moon rules Cancer. So again, remembering to connect to our feelings, perhaps, how we feel, getting in touch in the inner world. I have some chickens over here. Lots of chickens in Panama, which is good. People are very self-sustaining here. Let's see if you can catch it. There's some chickens walking along the path. So, yeah, so balance. Not that there's any, actually there is a grand cross taking place with the moon. There is. The moon, so forming this grand cross is the moon. So the moon's still in Leo, and so this is adding to the self-expression. It's also been a really good time for having a bit of fun, creative energy, playfulness. So that's still going on today in terms of how we're feeling and the more personal side to life. So good for that creative self-expression. But with that, the moon's going to be opposing up to Neptune. That's the opposite side to it. Squaring up to Saturn and squaring up to Venus. Okay. And a little bit of that opposite up to Chiron going into tomorrow. So that's a bit of that, you know, tensor kind of energy that, you know, we could be feeling with a bit of the bottlenecking. And with Saturn, maybe a bit of a detachment, a reserve, maybe a bit of an isolation feeling with our emotions, maybe sensitive with the moon square Venus. Could be sensitive perhaps today. You know, I think the dominant thing is going to be the, obviously Sun-Mars conjunction, but this is kind of going on in the inner world, this grand cross. And so, you know, as I always say, just bring extra attention to the feelings. But I do feel this, you know, like I was saying, there's this bit of tension, certainly tension. And it could have to do with this more serious approach with Saturn. It's one good way of looking at Saturn. Could have to do with a sensitive energy with Venus, because when the moon squares Venus, our emotions are sensitive in interpersonal relationships, and maybe it's hard to enjoy things. But, you know, like I said, there's a constructive way of working with all this, channeling this into anything that you feel like you can take some steps towards or actions towards. And the opposite up to Neptune is balancing too any mental projections. If you do find today that you're idealizing anything or the mind's sort of escaping into the fantasy realm, I actually caught myself doing that this morning too. My mind was really active yesterday. I think it was because we had the moon conjunct Mercury. But anyways, yeah, you know, just kind of fantasizing. There's nothing wrong with dreams, of course, but it's important to keep things nice and balanced in the sense that we're not using our minds to escape reality or to not be here now in the present moment. And so, opposite Neptune, really good for actually living more presently. But it should be more challenging to do so. In fact, I can definitely feel that. Like, I'm going to probably go home and meditate, but I can see how today certainly be a more challenging day to do that. Because of all the fire and then this, you know, square and all that stuff. All right, but the moon's also going to be trining up to Pluto. So, I think there is that, again, frankness, willingness to just be, I don't know, to just be real, to just see beyond the veil of things, pierce the veil, remove obstacles. All right, whatever that means for you personally. And on another minor note, Venus will be sextiling up to the North Node. So there is this opening to our life path, maybe with relationships. Maybe there is an opening, but we usually don't feel the North Node personally. But maybe there is something we're learning about relationships or about what we value here today. Usually the North Node is about learning for our life journey. But that's a minor thing. All right, so that is pretty much it. Tomorrow we're going to have the moon going into Virgo, which is going to be more analytical. So we'll be coming out of this, again, more expressive, wanting to have fun, create type of energy, and probably going into something a little bit more about working on details of things, analyzing things, you know, just feeling a little bit more of that perfectionistic kind of energy of Virgo. And as I always say, it is always really good with anything in Virgo to strive towards personal growth and development, you know, improve ourselves and our health, our routine, everything we have control over. All right, and then, and then most of the day will be, first half will be coming off of that Grand Cross. We'll still have some Grand Cross energy, like the moon will be squaring up to Venus exact tomorrow morning for those of us in the Americas. But it's a lot like today with that still direct self-expression, that Sun-Mars conjunction, but easing up. It'll be easing up tomorrow, starting to anyways. And usually too, when there's a conjunction, there's a sort of new beginning. So there could certainly be a new understanding or a new beginning, personally and collectively, about this whole thing we're learning about this Sun-Mars combination. About being direct, taking action, expressing ourselves in such a way, and that kind of thing. All right, so have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares with these videos. I'll probably continue to make these because I'm actually enjoying this quite a bit. And let me see if I can catch one more shot of that volcano, just to end the video with. There we go. All right, so have an awesome day, everyone. Take care.